All right. It is 6 o'clock, and we got to prep some Dungeons and Dragons. We don't have a game tonight, so we're going to keep working on the Gothic Horror campaign. So it's going to be Castlevania and Curse of Strahd, Domains of Dread, Castle Ravenloft inspired situation. So pretty excited about that. Shouldn't be until September, October, so we've got time. It's still only March. I think this is the third week that we've been working on it, slowly making our way through. We left off last week. We were still expanding on the core races for the game. So what we're going to do is just kind of keep building those out. A suggestion has been made a number of times that we look into death as a mechanic. Basically, if you die, like a roguelike game, like dying isn't the end. Like there's, I don't know. I mean, everybody's played Hades by now. You die and there's setbacks, but you can't die. You just have to keep going. I've used that before in a Viking-based game where everybody was a Viking. They were all in Valhalla, and if they died, they just came back the next day, ready to kick more ass, because that's how Valhalla works. So it's not a completely foreign concept. There's been a couple of one-shots and adventures where, hey man, what's up? Where the penalty for death was simply becoming indebted to the creature or the being that brought you back, which does work pretty well for this campaign. So, for example, death depends on many factors. Where, when, why, and how. And we could kind of build a system around that if you died during the game, you would keep going. We got to watch that in action on Saturday morning. We had a TPK in Paradise Vale, and I told the players, like, the system has fate points, so you have lost. You can either lose the character, or you can use a fate point, and we'll figure out, how did you survive, sort of thing. So of the 5 players, 4 of them agreed to be kidnapped, or not kidnapped, but captured by the enemy, and that's how they burned their fate point to survive death. So now they're prisoners, and they have to escape. And then one of them burned their fate point to basically be left for dead, gutted and bleeding in the mud, and they dragged themselves all the way back to civilization, that sort of thing. So, yeah. Exactly. I don't want to give away too many spoilers about how I'm running Odyssey of the Dragon Lords, but there are mechanics in place that keep the characters alive in that as well. So death is, again, sort of a speed bump, but there are cumulative penalties for every character death that happens. At least the way that I'm running it. So yeah, that could certainly be something that we explore as well, which is why we need to kind of look into where you died, when you died, how you died, why you died. All that stuff could have factors in play. And there's this board game called Arcadia Quest, which is actually a very fun board game. And there is a death mechanic in that if you die, you get a death token, and then at the end of the scenario, for every death token you have to draw from this deck, and the deck can have nothing bad happen to you, or could have like really detrimental shit that you have to deal with during the next adventure. So that's an idea as well, is that different kinds of death could trigger different effects. We could have like a whole deck of cards that we draw from to see what the effect of death is, that sort of thing. So A mechanic that we will explore, but I want to get the I want to get all the races knocked out first. So, yeah, like yeah, there's a lot of things that have that. There was this really great adventure set in Forgotten Realms where you had to stop a Dracolich who was basically in a temple to Bane. You know, Bane, the god of murder, sometimes dead, sometimes alive, depending on what timeline you're in. Forgotten Realms. So this Dracolich was there and was basically like feeding off the leftover energies of Bane, and it was a big dungeon. It was designed to be run at like conventions. So you'd have multiple parties in the same dungeon trying to get to the Dracolich to take it out. And the Dracolich basically existed separately for each party, but had like a pool of hit points. It was a weird mechanic, but it kind of worked. But anyways, if you died, you would come back and you'd roll on a table to see what sort of thing had happened to you, if you were willing to come back. And like every time you came back, you were slightly more evil or monstrous than you were before. Now, I don't necessarily think that every death would need to be a punishment. Some deaths, again, could be really noble, or basically if you die in somebody's domain, but you died doing something that is favorable to the lord of that domain, maybe you come back with a boon instead of a bane kind of deal. So something to think about. All right, the last race we worked on was Red Caps. I thought about Red Caps a lot during the week. I love them. I think they're great. I think the only change I made to them since the stream ended and right now is their iron weakness. Oh, that's unfortunate. Why would you sign me out of my stuff? Okay. Let's see what we can do about that. Hold on a second. Okay, that was a little weird. Alright, so the thing I came up with since the last time was how to handle, what was it? Let's see. I'm going to the Discord because I think I posted it up in there. Let's see. Sexy pictures of Batkin. Lichen pictures. Alright, here we go. Iron weakness. They cannot use metal weapons, armor, and equipment as prolonged exposure will poison them. That seems pretty straightforward. So we had talked about iron weakness for these guys. There we go. Yeah, I guess I already copied and pasted over the Discord chat. So that's the main change that I made, was rather than taking like extra damage, rather than having like vulnerability to iron, we go kind of more of a druid route where they just don't, yeah, they get iron sickness, you know what I'm saying? Like they just can't stand to be around it. And then we could do the same things with the lichen for silver, and then of course that is the easiest way to tell if someone is a lichen or a Fey, is to test them with that metal. So a lot of people carry around like talismans or trinkets or jewelry that is very obviously silver and or iron, maybe even like beaded bracelets that are like beads of iron and silver, interwoven, so they could just kind of hold it up and show people like, look, I'm not a lichen or a a fey creature. So I kind of like that idea of having that sort of litmus test to figure out, hey, are you a lichen or not? So it might be kind of cool. All right, so let's jump into lichens. All right. So we got two kinds of lichens. Yeah, garlic for the Dampier. Why not? I'm not sure what to do about the Dampier. I mean, the garlic thing would be cute, I guess, but I feel like there's so many weaknesses for vampires, we could probably pick a cooler one than that. Let's see. Werewolves, wererats. Batkin are actually not going to be a lichen. They're going to be their own species. So let's bring that over. And still on the fence if I want to do the Stone-Hearted. Because they did it so well. Disney did it so well. And then World of Warcraft ripped it off so well. I don't know if I really want to do it or not. And then we've also got the Dampiers here. Alright. Okay, so, Lichens. Alright. Obviously things that you want you want Lichens to have, so we'll put all Lichens. Alright. They're gonna have, let's see, take all this. Nope. Christ. There we go. They're gonna have keen senses, right? Because animal. They're going to have pack tactics. Okay. They're going to have... ash and wood would be cool for the Dampiers. Yeah, I kind of like that. Keen senses, pack tactics, and then... let's see... damage resistance. Okay. So all those are all things that you associate with a Lichen. And then, of course, different forms. Human, hybrid, and animal form. And I mean, that's kind of it. I mean, you could go deep, like Werewolf the Apocalypse Deep, which, by the way, is a fantastic game. But we don't have to go that deep, honestly. So then we have to find a reason why have were-rats at all if we already have werewolves. Like, what is different about them? You know what I'm saying? So, werewolves, we're going to say they are strong. And they are... if we're going the Werewolf the Apocalypse route, werewolves are actually quite noble. In that setting, they have sort of like a Native American Viking mashup kind of going in World of Darkness vampires, which is kind of dope, actually. In the Dungeons and Dragons mythos, were-bears are the more honorable, more Nordic creature in that or culture among Lycans. Honestly, werewolves kind of have sort of a basic bitch. In Dungeons & Dragons, at least. They have sort of that basic bitch, vanilla, like, ordinary, run-of-the-mill, this is a werewolf, period. So, they don't really have a lot culturally to go off of. Worgens, right, within the World of Warcraft universe, they are a type of werewolf. They are possessed of a great hunger, I want to say. That manifests in them changing into horrible wolf creatures or whatever, and then I guess at some point the Night Elves show up, and they're like, you must master this evil hunger by learning to turn into other animals, ? Connection to nature beats me. Yeah, I don't really know how to handle them other than they look cool and they kick ass. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't really mind taking a more like Nordic approach with the werewolves, because that would allow us to take a much sneakier approach with the were-rats. So let's kind of make them two sides of the same coin. These guys favor dexterity, stealth, and cunning. Alright, these guys favor strength, athleticism, and resolve. There we go. Alright, unafraid of battle. Sneakier, always looking for an edge. Maybe like damage reduction equals proficiency bonus, and werewolf have a bonus, and were-rats don't have a bonus but extra movement. Yeah, I kind of am down for that. Oh, thank you very much. Awesome. let's say that werewolves are going to be beefier and more into tanking and combat. Were-rats are going to be faster, sneakier. We got sneaky on there twice. And more into clever solutions to problems. All right. Now, how is this going to manifest in their different abilities? That's what we have to figure out next. Because we know that we want them both to have keen senses. We want them both to eventually have pack tactics. This is backed up by, I believe, rats and wolves both have pack tactics as monsters in D&D. Okay. And then the different forms will be pretty cool. I like the idea that among their different forms, they can choose to focus on different forms as they level up. It might be kind of cool. All right. So let's see. So werewolves, let's see. In their human form equals Skyrim Nords, aka Viking Duff. Okay, let's see. We'll do a whole section called forms. And then in their hybrid form, they all have wolf snoots. None of that flat-faced werewolf shit. Alright, and then in their actual wolf form is medium, but continues to grow as they level. Yeah, I like that. Alright, so down here for were-rats then, for their forms, their human forms are going to be slim, nubile, and quick. Alright. Always have snoots. No flat faces. I just hate flat face like lichen hybrids so much. I don't know. I just hate it. And then rat form starts small and can scale up or down as they level. Nice. It's tempting, right? Like Skaven are great. Skaven are amazing. But they're also, like, in my opinion, super iconic. So I wouldn't really want to do... We really wouldn't want to do Skaven all over again, kind of thing. Believe it or not, these... In the Dungeons and Dragons multiverse, these Lycans, these shapeshifters, they all actually had at one time like a very defined culture. Like each of the different types of were creature was very well defined about what they were about, how they acted. Kind of like you think about a red dragon, you're like, oh, they're chaotic evil. They get angry really easy. They're big, they're strong, they're greedy. They're a little short-sighted because they're so strong and chaotic. Like you just know what a red dragon is like because that's the lore of Dungeons and Dragons. You would ask a second edition player, like, what is a were-tiger like? And they would be able to tell you what a were-tiger was like. Including the fact that were-tiger are constantly having to deal with Rakshasa. Because, a tiger person and a tiger person, and then they end up picking up the bad rap for Rakshasa. Like, there's a whole thing where, every single were creature was so well developed that, most DMs at least knew all the different tropes that were associated with them. Yeah, I think they did have a feature like that. I think they did. It's tempting to open up the old school player's handbook. Not the old school player's handbook, the 4th edition player's handbook, which I guess is kind of old school now, and check. I have the player's handbook here, but I don't have the monster manual open, so hold on a second. Let me see if I could find it. All recent. Scroll, scroll, scroll. Monster Manual 1, Monster Manual 2, Monster Manual Deluxe. There we go. Alright. So, let's see. Are were-rats even in here? Lycanthropes, page 180. Alright. Look at those beefy lizard folk. Good for you guys. Alright. So, Lycanthropes. Lycanthrope is a bestial shape changer that preys on other living creatures. This often assumes animal form in the wild, hunting in packs with similar animals or others of its kind. Ooh, that's what we forgot. Animal handling. Animal friendship. Crib from Yuanti. There we go. Maybe the more they shift, they get stuck, and the human form is the temporary form. Well, that's another thing that gets explored really heavily in Werewolf the Apocalypse, which again, Cadenix, if you have not played World of Darkness, you really need to, because it's really, really good. But it was also something that was covered in the lore of these creatures back in 2nd edition, is that as shape changers, they didn't have like one true form. They were all their forms, and it was just kind of like, what did they identify as? You know, like what did they feel most comfortable as, kind of thing. All right, lycanthropes gather in clannish communities hidden in remote places, or they live secretly among other races. Although they hunt when they please, they are the most active on nights of the full moon. Lycanthrope superficially resembles a human or other humanoid creature. It stands erect, but has the head of a ravenous animal such as a rat or wolf. They can assume the form of a specific humanoid, usually a human with subtle physical traits that betray their true heritage. Okay. That's actually worth mentioning. So we'll take that, and then we'll put that here. There we go. Alright. Yeah, if you haven't played World of Darkness, bro, you got to. You've got to. Maybe we'll find a group together and we'll try to play like a short campaign or something. That would be good homework for this, actually. That whole universe was absolutely spectacular. And the system itself was spectacular too. It ran off of D10s instead of D20s. And the focus was much heavier on storytelling. And like the combat was all very abstract. The rules were very abstract compared to like Dungeons and Dragons. And it really worked, in my opinion, like really well. Like the rules were there just so that everybody could tell a story without somebody being like, I use my force field. You know, like it was basically just to prevent force field kid. All right. Let's see. In animal form, lycanthrope resembles a powerful version of a normal animal, though its eyes betray a spark of unnatural intelligence. Man, and they said 4th edition didn't have good writing. Come on now. Come on now. All right. Let's see. There we go. All right. Lycanthrope typically assumes animal form when it hunts, and sometimes when it needs to flee. It is hereditary. Lycanthropes mate with those of similar species to produce lycanthrope offspring. Well, that's spicy. Some lycanthropes can also mate with similarly sized humanoids, sometimes producing lycanthrope children. However, the blood is diluted in this way, and many such children never change or become shifters. Which, I mean, we should all know what shifters are by now. That's kind of a cool trivia fact, and I will add it to our notes. There we go. All right, so what's going on with the were-rats? Let's see. They have a combat advantage, which is like a sneak attack thing. And then that's it. They can disease you as well. Okay. This is a little rude to rats, which make excellent pets, by the way. But we could put disease resistance. Okay. Both of them are going to have silver weakness. There we go. Or silver sickness. Sickness is a much better word. All right. Let's see. I don't really feel like the were-rat has a lot going on here besides to get a little sneak attack action. A little sneak attack. Werewolf. Lone werewolf tries to isolate and pick off victims one at a time. When bloodied, it usually flees to regenerate. In the wild, they hunt in packs. And they have a rage ability, which is kind of cool. All right, so we'll do bloodied rage-ish ability. Nice. And that was another thing that I forgot, was they have damage resistance, but these creatures also eventually get regeneration as well. Okay. These guys are pretty cool. Yeah. I like where this is at. I like the whole werewolves are big Viking folks and were-rats. Oh, here you go. Here's a great example. If the werewolves are to Thor, right? Then the were-rats are to Loki. Nah, I mean that pretty much sums it up. Werewolf, Thor, were-rat, Loki. Bam. That sums it up really well. For both of them, I kind of like leaning in that sort of pseudo-Norse direction. I think that is kind of exciting. That might shift, but I'm kind of digging it for now. So let's go and add a culture here. And we'll do pop Viking. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That's good. All right. And then let's see. Let's hit up D&D Beyond real quick for the Yuan-Ti stuff. Yuan-Ti. Yuan-Ti as a race. You gonna make me scroll all the way down for this? All right. And let's see. Yuan-Ti. Lives are cheap. Capture, not kill. Roleplay. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. Give me the good stuff. Okay. Animal friendship and unlimited times. But you can target only snakes with it. Alright. So, there we go. And animal handling. So we could just sort of put that there. Only, and then we'll do wolf, rat, charisma based casting, question mark? Or if we wanted to keep it in line with the other races, since it's an innate spell-like ability, we could make it, they could spend spell slots to power it, blah, blah, blah. But we'll cross that bridge when we try to balance all these guys out. For now, again, we're just trying to get ideas down onto digital paper. Okay. I like that so far. I like that a lot. All right, let's grab all these guys. And we'll move on to Batkin for now. All right. So, Batkin. Let's see. We were all looking for good art for Batkin, and Dom definitely picked some good ones here. I was going with like more humanoid examples. I did eventually find this really rad bat ninja dude. I was feeling that bat ninja dude pretty hard. I thought that was pretty cool looking concept art. And then kind of going from there, Dom found this guy who I had already found, but I worried that he had too much of like a wolfish face. I really feel like I'm gonna have to do some of this art myself, for concepting and things like that, and then maybe we'll hire an artist to do more refined art off of the sketches or something. But yeah, I mean the idea is, you know, Man Bat from Batman. Uh, the question here is this too monstrous, right? Like to be a race that people would not just burn at the stake when you roll up into their town? That's the question I'm asking. I'm trying very hard to not have the classic circus troupe furry pirate situation, right? Like we're the biggest band of misfits that you've ever seen, and we're gonna roll up into your town, and everybody's just gonna be okay with it, and that's just how it is. Like part of what makes like horror, yeah, part of what makes horror campaigns work to me, right, is that most people are normal fucking people, right? They're that normality. Yeah. We could just make them another type of lichen. Could just make them wear bats, essentially, and that would be that. That is what used to be a thing. So let's see, 2E, werebat. There you go. Alright, so werebats were typically created from goblins or drow. Oh, sad. Although they could be other races, their normal forms were typically pug-nosed and sharp-toothed, possessing oddly keen hearing, yet poor eyesight in the sun. Werebats could also transform into a giant bat. The most fearsome form of werebat was their hybrid form, retaining a humanoid feature, but with their arms extended into leathery wings, snout pushed out from their face, and eyes that glowed when hit by light. Their teeth sharpened into fangs, and their nails lengthened into pointed claws. Werebats in normal form were elusive and quiet. Most werebats preyed on humans, but the attacks were not malicious in nature. They merely viewed humans as lower on the food chain. I'm kind of leaning towards that, honestly. Yeah, I think they should probably just be another flavor of lichen, honestly. And to balance out the flight, right, they should just have slower access to everything else. Yeah. Alright, so, werebats, on the other hand, what do we got going on here? If these guys are strength, and these guys are their opposite, what are werebats? I sort of like the idea that werebats would be, well, yeah, caster sounds pretty good. Let's see, favor range and spells in combat. Always looking out for an advantage. Let's see. We should do like charismatic. Yeah, scouts is good. Let's see. I think all lycanthropes are probably driven by hunger, but that might be something to put up here too. Always hungry. All right. Let's see. Okay. Now, obviously, the big pull here is flight. All right. Now, because flight is very good, they're going to have some flaws. The number one flaw is that they are going to clumsy flyers at low levels and sunlight sensitivity. All right. Let's see. Okay. Other than that, I think that, yeah, that kind of solves that problem pretty easily. Okay, let's get rid of all this shit. Boop, that was easy. Yeah, that's a good idea too, because they use their arms for flight. Okay, so, when flying, cannot, wield weapons, and shields in their hands. We could put, eventually learn to use feet. And that's a hybrid form thing. And we do need to talk about their forms then. So let's grab that. Yeah, that's true. That's true. They are IRL bats are not great at flying. Like their whole thing is they fly, they get the food, and then they pretty much burn it all up getting back to the cave, and then they go out the next day. And man, when bats eat, they eat so much. They like inflate like a balloon. They eat so much. So yeah, I'm down for that. Clumsy flyers, sunlight sensitivity, and then the hybrid form, when flying, cannot wield weapons or shields in their arms or hands. And then also with clumsy flyer, armor limitations. Alright, so their forms. Ooh, that's another question. Do we go the wild shape route, where if they turn into their other forms, they just absorb their equipment into their bodies? Or do we do the, all your shit falls in a pile next to your body? Because obviously all your shit falling into a pile by your body is more realistic, but in play, it's not always very fun. It's kind of a pain in the ass. I would say yes, which is why they favor caster stuff. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So we should probably mention that, though. Can still hold a spell focus with feet. For complex, for simple and martial weapons. There we go. That's what I'm saying. Like story-wise, it's way better. Well, can they see while deafened? All right, so a lot of people think that bats can't see very well. Bats could pretty much see fine. They just also have echolocation, but they could see just fine. So, yeah. That's a big myth that bats bats are not blind. They don't need echolocation. It's just a bonus feature. It's a bonus feature. Which would be represented by their keen senses, essentially. All of them have keen senses. You just explain it in different flavors of keen sense. All right. Let's see. Always looking for advantage, charismatic scouts, flight. Let's see. In their forms, human forms, they always look, if the rats look slim, nubile, and quick, let's see. Werebat humanoid forms are shorter, lither, that's a word, and, larger ears and eyes. Yeah. Okay. Alright. In their hybrid form, let's see, can fly, but clumsily with restrictions. See flaws. And then in bat form, I'm going to put that similar to the rats. It'll start small and it will scale up or down. There we go. Yeah. Okay. I think that's good. I think that sums that up pretty well. All right. And then we've got the Dampiers, which is the last one we need to do. In bat form, I'm going to say that they're probably still clumsy flyers, because bats IRL are clumsy flyers. So we might just say, yeah, we'll put hybrid and bat forms. And when I'm referring to clumsy flyer, more than likely we'll just pull the Giphy stuff for that. So Giphy monsters. Oh, I guess I have to put glyph because Giphy's the whole thing. There we go. Oh, yeah. That's a good idea. Hold on. All right. Let's see. Frey is widely tested guide to ornithology, sacral kingship, virility, peace, and prosperity, sunshine and fair weather, and good harvest. Let's see. Was especially associated with Sweden since the ancestral Swedish royal house. Mythology, represented with the veneer, the son of the god Norder and his sister wife. The realm of the elves. Yeah, okay. So, let's say that their humanoid form, because larger eyes and ears kind of covers that, but similar to a half elf from other settings. Yeah. Slightly pointed ears. Unusual eyes, etc. Yeah, so they kind of a charismatic, otherworldly vibe. Okay. So in here, let's see. If we go to traits, and we add a trait, we'll select from the list. There is something in here for flight, and it's terrible. Here we go. Let's see. You could fly your speed. When flying, you must move your entire movement speed or land, unless you can also hover. Launching into flight provokes opportunity attacks, even if you disengage. Yeah, Giffyglyph does not like flying, very much at all. So, that is going to be helpful to us because that will sort of help explain exactly what clumsy means mechanically. So, good stuff there. Right. Yeah. All right. I dig it. Okay. So now we got to talk about Dampiers. All right. So 4E vampire race. It's a good place to start. Let's see. This was a real thing. There really was a vampire in 4E. I believe there was a race and there was a class as well. Let's see. So they were fast. All right. So we'll put that fast. Let's see. They were charismatic and dexterous. Let's see. Sunlight sensitivity. I guess that's another thing we have to wonder about is dark vision, right? Some of these creatures are going to have dark vision. Oh, is there a UA Dampier now too? Probably came out with the Hex ladies, right? All right. Let's see. Nope. Those are all the wrong buttons. Dampier? Okay. Let's just go to races in general then. Let's see. Game rules, races. Scroll, scroll, scroll. Keep scrolling. Scroll, scroll, scroll. Keep going. Holy shit. Keep going. We're almost there. There we go. Dampiers. Well, that saves us a lot of time, doesn't it? Every Dampier knows thirst, slaked only by the living. This desire is a whisper in the mind, a tinge to the sight, a reflex constantly needed, or needing to be suppressed. I want to take a moment to point out that every edition of D&D eventually lets you play as fucking vampires. It takes about 5 years or so, but every edition of D&D will eventually let you play as a vampire. Alright, what are your origins? Well, okay. Dampier traits. Yeah, increased speed. Let's see. Oh, interesting. They don't even joke around anymore. New races just have pick your own shit. That's cool. Languages is also pick your own shit. Creature type, your type is both humanoid and undead. Alright, so we got dual type Pokemon. Alright. That's a question. Would a werewolf be a dual type creature as well? Would it be a humanoid and a shape changer? No. That's not what they're called in the... There's not a shape changer class or class of monster, is there? I don't think so. Let's see. I think they're just monstrosities, yeah? No, they're just humanoids. Oh, but they have the shape changer sub. Okay. Let me add that before we forget. Okay. Shape changer subclass. Alright. And let's see. Back to Dampiers. Spider climb. That's hot. You have a climbing speed equal to your walking speed. In addition, at 3rd level, you can move up, down, and across vertical surfaces or upside down along ceilings without leaving your hands, while leaving your hands free. Nice. Honestly, there's some DMs who need to be a little bit stricter about that climb speed. Myself. Me. I'm talking about me. Because, you know, we just sort of like let people spider climb without spider climbing. Alright. Let's see. Vampiric Bites. Your fanged bite is a natural weapon which counts as a simple melee weapon in which you are proficient. You add your constitution modifier to the attack and damage rolls when you attack with your bite. Your bite deals 1d4 damage on a hit. When you are missing more than half your hit points, aka bloodied, you have advantage on attack rolls you make with this bite. Okay, that's kind of hype. When you use your bite and hit a creature that isn't a construct or undead, you can empower yourself in one of these ways. Regain hit points equal to the damage dealt by the bite. Gain a bonus to the next ability check or attack roll you make. This bonus equals the damage dealt by the bite. You can empower yourself with the bite a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. All that sounds pretty damn good, actually. Alright, so we'll just throw all that shit in there. Just like their hex blooded or whatever. This is actually pretty good. This is pretty good. Okay. Oh yeah, the second option, you gain a bonus to the next ability check or attack roll you make equal to the damage dealt by the bite. I mean, if you spec for this bite, oh my god, you could do like a lot of damage. This does bring up the fact that we didn't talk about natural attacks on the Lichens. So that's a thing. We said they could turn into their forms, but we didn't actually discuss what their natural attacks were. I'm probably just going to go with this thing. You have a natural attack called a Savage. I like Savage. Savage was my fucking favorite thing. Alright, so you have a natural attack called Savage. Okay, which counts as a simple melee weapon. You attack with different parts of your body while in hybrid or animal form. The damage dealt by savage can change between piercing and slashing as you see fit. All right. The damage dealt by your savage attack is dictated by your subspecies and forms. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's really good. Okay. I also like the idea that the Dhampir can manipulate, let's see, can manipulate hit dice. I don't know what to do with that, but I know that I want them to be able to do it. All right. But yeah, man, this is really good. Let's see. Get it in there. There we go. Yeah, stealing hit dice would be kind of cool. Maybe put that as an option because you might want to have some hit dice. Steal a hit die, or we just put regain a missing hit die as another option. Yeah. All right, that's pretty solid. It's pretty solid. The long rest thing is going to be punishing to it for sure. As amazing as the Dhampir sounds, it is actually relatively weak compared to a Warforged, a Yuan-Ti, a Variant Human. It's definitely weaker than all of these Lichens that we've designed. I feel like the Lichens are going to be the hardest one to manage without them getting completely out of control. So now that we have the races sort of, you know, written down, improving your racial powers, abilities. There we go. For additional effects or whatever. Yeah. I like the idea. How about this? Can use hit dice to power spell-like abilities. And then we just hit up vampire lore for spell-like abilities. Because the ultimate Dhampir, right? The ultimate Dhampir is Vampire Hunter D. Right? Pretty sure Vampire Hunter D was the first Dhampir in popular fiction. I want to say that's got to be right. Vampire Hunter D. If you've not seen Vampire Hunter D, Vampire Hunter D is pretty dope. It's pretty dope. But he is kind of the first, like, you know, I think it came out in 1983, the first manga. For Vampire Hunter D. So this is the OG Dhampir. I want to say that, yeah. D is a Dhampir, a half-breed child of a vampire father and a human mother, the ideal vampire hunter, blah, 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 right? So Vampire Hunter D showed up on the scene, and then, of course, Blade, the vampire hunter, you know, he shows up, he's like, yo, what's up? Here I am. So that's a whole thing. And then other famous Dhampir is, of course, Alucard. And boy howdy, did it blow my mind when somebody told me, did you know it's just Dracula spelled backwards? Yeah. There's actually two Alucards. There's Alucard from the Hellsing manga, and then there's Alucard from Castlevania. I am, of course, referring to Dreamboat Alucard from Castlevania. Yeah, so lots of famous Dhampirs to kind of draw on, which is cool. No, thank you. Yeah, so we could look at their abilities. I mean, Symphony of the Night, one of the greatest video games of all time. Alucard had all kinds of abilities. Dude could turn into animals. Dude could turn into mist, fireballs, incredible alacrity. So there's a lot of cool things that he could do that we could sort of add in to, to how we're designing these guys. So I'm going to leave that up for debate, but I like the idea that it's powered by hit dice, and then that gives them yet another reason to steal hit dice with their Vampiric Bite ability. So, what I'm thinking here is how to improve your racial abilities. You could improve them by taking feats. Keeping in mind that you will only, in this campaign that runs 1 to 10, you will only have 2 opportunities for feats. Okay. So it's going to be, it's going to be a tough call. I also like the idea of trading in class abilities for racial abilities. That sounds like it's going to be a little complicated design-wise, but like, for example, let's pull up a class here. Well, we probably need to pull up a Giphy class because we're doing like 1 to 10 here. Let's see. All right, so if we're doing class compendium, and we'll just pick a random one, Phytar. Okay. So with Phytar, we could have it that when you reach a certain point, right? Instead of taking, God, these are all like really hard things to not take. Let's go to the martial arts types. So here you go. When you had an opportunity to get improved critical, wow, you decide not to take improved critical. You would rather take a boost to one of your racial abilities. Instead of taking remarkable athlete, you instead decide to boost your racial abilities. So that's sort of an opportunity that we could explore to have yet another way to improve their racial abilities beyond what other members of their species could have. It's a popular trope, right? That like when you're watching an anime or a show about vampires and werewolves and Gothic horror type stuff, they're like, so and so is one of the greatest vampires of the whole world, and you're like, well, how is it that he's a better vampire than this guy over here? Like, what makes this guy such a good vampire? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So the idea is that person like doubled down on being a vampire. They didn't go fighter. They went vampire. They went full on vampire. Now the other option, bear with me here. The other option is each race we pick a class over here that would be appropriate for that race, and we make a subclass that is that race. Right. We could do a class compendium Lichen class. Right. So that's an idea, right? So for example, we could look into each of these not each of them, but each of these races could at least have representation of one subclass under one of the main classes. That could be kind of cool. So, for example, the Dampiers could have maybe a warlock situation, right? Or even a sorcerer situation, like a blood magic type deal. The Batkin could have like a ranger thing going on. The Were-Rats could have, or even the Batkin could have a wizard thing going on. That'd actually be kind of hype. Or a warlock thing going on. Because warlocks are intelligence based. The Were-Rats, of course, would do like a rogue type thing. The Werewolves, we could do a barbarian type thing. The Redcaps, we would do a fighter type thing, and so on and so forth. So that could be kind of cool. Yeah. Yeah, that too. So that they don't have to give up their ability to score increases, which are also going to be few and far between. Uh, so there are ways that we could do that. We could also do story boons. We could also do piety system mechanics. We could have custom subclasses. So there's like a lot of ways that we could further improve these creatures. So let's see. Something else I wanted to look at before we finish, which we're going to have to finish soon because I was only going to go for like an hour today, is within this player's handbook. Here you go. This is how, in 4th edition, the races used to be, right? So you had your ability to score mods, you had your speed, your size, your vision, your languages, and then you had skill bonuses. You didn't have proficiencies in skills, you just had bonuses to certain skills, because these are skills that your culture felt were important, and therefore you had them. And then there were traits that you had. So Dragonborn Fury, when you're bloodied, you had a +1 to your attack roll. And then Draconic Heritage, your healing surge value is equal to 1/4 of your maximum hit points plus your Constitution modifier. That was actually pretty decent. And then you got this Dragon Breath ability, which was a bonus action. They called them minor actions back then. This is back when Dragonborn were pretty dope, actually. So every race kind of had like some cool thing going on, right? Like if I go down to Dwarf, let's see. Dwarf didn't have any special ability to activate, but they had a number of special traits here, which were pretty cool. One of them that was really neat is that they could use their second wind as a minor action instead of a standard action, because everybody in 4th edition had the fighter ability second wind. Just every character had second wind, which is really cool. But you can see here that Elves, they had Fey Step, which nowadays is Misty Step, and it's an actual spell. So they had, yeah, all these other things. Elven Accuracy used to just be a racial trait of High Elves. It wasn't a feat. So, you know, I'm trying to pull a little bit of inspiration for racial design from 4E as well. But overall, I'm really, really happy with where we're at on the different races. If we do a quick once-over before we end the stream to kind of remind ourselves of where we're at. We have human beings. Human beings are divided into 3 cultures. The culture that embrace the darkness, and they basically have sort of a drow tiefling mashup kind of going, like flavor-wise, like drow tiefling wearing human suits, essentially. And then we have Fight the Darkness, which is Simon Belmont and a bunch of leather jacket wearing paladins, basically. And then we have the basic bitch humans who don't know how they got into this situation, and they really wish they weren't in this situation. But they're just here to live and die, and hopefully both of those are uneventful, right? So that's our human beings. For Fae, which kind of checks the elf category for us, we have sort of an elf changeling hybrid. So we're dealing with potential like illusionary appearance via disguise self, spell-like abilities, minor teleportation abilities. We're basically just trying to hit up all of the exciting stuff from elves, changelings, and hexborn. When we checked out the hexborn, we found that they were almost perfect for what we needed. And so more than likely, we're just going to move in that direction, but give them a couple of extra abilities and then balance it out with this vulnerability to iron. All right, the red caps are replacing our smalls. So this is going to be like our halflings, our gnomes, and our dwarves all sort of got rolled up into the red caps. They are a humanoid fae hybrid. They are small but big. So they count as a medium creature even though they are small, and they could use medium equipment as if they're medium sized even though they're small. And they are fueled by rage and violence. So that's kind of exciting. Then we have 3 flavors of Lichen, Wolf Rat, and Bat, all of which have silver sickness vulnerability, but each of which is very different in their culture and their playstyle. So I feel like that was a success. And then we've got the Dampier here, which is kind of wrapped up in you wanted to be a vampire. This is the closest you're going to get to being a vampire unless you become a vampire during gameplay, kind of thing. So, yeah, that's it, though. Those are the only races that we're going to have in the game. So the players will have to choose from these races. Since we have such a small selection of races to choose from, though, we can create additional stuff for them, like racial feats and custom subclasses and all that good stuff. So, overall, I'm pretty damn happy with where we're at with the races. I like the clean solution of just making the Batkin into werebats. That just tidies that whole situation up right there. Doofam, you are correct. A lot of them have to do with changing appearance. And honestly, that is a big part of horror, is not knowing if your neighbor is a monster. I mean, One Night Werewolf, you know what I'm saying? It's a great party game. But it has merit, because when you're a simple peasant farmer and people start disappearing, and you know that all this spooky shit has the ability to look like your neighbor, you start to get suspicious. You start to get real suspicious. So that suspicion, of course, is the fertile soil where the seeds of fear are planted. Yeah. So I like the fact that a lot of these creatures, most of these creatures, can change their form. I like that the red caps can't change their form and don't even bother. So that's pretty exciting. Next week, we are going to start developing the 4 realms. So that is what we're going to do next week. So there's technically going to be 5 realms, because there's going to be this neutral area in the middle of the map. But next week, we will start fleshing out the 4 different realms based on the 4 lords. So influenced by 4 lords, and we're going to have to come up with culture and politics and religion, etc. So that's what we're going to work on next week. Yeah. All right, great. No games tonight. I'll be back tomorrow. We're going to be having a Paradiseville GM meeting. We're going to be talking about Kingdom Builder and refining the Kingdom Builder. Tomorrow night, we're going to play Rime of the Frost Maiden. Thursday, Skull and Shackles prep with Skull and Shackles. Friday, we're doing maps. Saturday, no stream. Sunday, gonna have to stream early because daylight savings time. My players have voted to start the session an hour early, so we're gonna start at 7 p.m. and only play till 11 p.m. Eastern time, because we live, well, at least I live in America, and we have to celebrate the archaic time travel holiday of daylight savings time. So rather than finish our session at midnight and then suddenly have it be 1 o'clock in the morning, everybody opted to start 1 hour early. So the stream on Sunday will be earlier as well to kind of deal with that. So, all right. So maybe I'll see you tomorrow. Maybe I'll see you later in the week. Either way, stay safe and healthy, and I will see you guys next time.